If you wake up already thinking about food, negotiating all day with cravings, and go to bed feeling guilty for what you ate, you're experiencing something called food noise. So stay with me because by the end of this video, you will know exactly what's causing it and how you can shut it off for good. In case you don't know me, my name is Lisette Lance. I am a food relationship coach, and I want to inspire you to reclaim your power in your food choices and trust your gut over anyone else's opinion. So, what is food noise? Food noise is when you're constantly thinking, craving, reaching for, talking about food. It's like it's a constant in your brain and you just can't stop thinking about waffles, whether you're hungry or not. There was an experiment done in the 1940s, to be more exact, 1944 to 1945, led by Dr. Ansel Keys, that was called the Minnesota Semi-Starvation Experiment. And the objective of this experiment was to anticipate the need for rehabilitation for all the people that had suffered starvation during war. So what they did is that they took like 36 healthy men with no food-related issues, and they reduced their calorie intake about half of what they would normally eat. And that went on for 24 weeks, I believe. And then there was a 12-week recovery or rehabilitation. So what they found was that for these men, their whole world became related to food. They would collect cookbooks, they would lick their plates, they would constantly think about food, and they actually lost interest in dating during the experiment. So a lot of relationships, even when they were healthy, ended. And there were others that didn't end, but it was apparently enticed by a group bet, like who can last the longest in this relationship that I don't want anymore. They also found that they suffer from deep depression, anxiety, irritability, mood swings. They barely had energy for even smiling. They lost muscle mass. They started to get edema, and edema is just like the accumulation of water in the body. They felt cold all the time, and their heart rate actually reduced. Yes, of course, they lost weight. It's kind of like medication. You get the benefit, but you also have to deal with the side effects. One of the participants stated that after the experiment, he was actually hungry all the time, even when he was able to eat whatever he wanted. And even though he ate everything that he wanted and all that he wanted, as much as he wanted, he was still feeling the sense of hunger, even when his belly was full, you know? So, of course, he ended up gaining weight, like much more than his normal body composition would normally be. And then he says that it took him 3 years to go back to a normal body weight and normal eating habits. So dieting really makes food noise worse. But why? And when I say dieting, I mean the weight loss industry dieting world where they're focused on making you lose weight as soon as possible by reducing your intake of calories and enticing you to exert more of the calories that you have. And they prioritize that calorie restriction above anything else, which is exactly what the participants in this experiment experienced. So if you do that, you are very likely to experience the same side effects or symptoms that they experienced. And if you've been through those harsh restrictive diets, you probably can attest to it. In fact, in the report of the experiment, they said that the biggest differences were in the psychological factors more than the physical. Willpower is meant to help you get started on a task, but it's not meant to keep you going. It's actually just like any other energy. It depletes as you use it. And discipline can just go out the window when your mind and body are just not at its best. So calorie restriction seems like a very simple math equation. However, when we focus on only that, we are forgetting that we are multifactorial beings. Plus, Calorie exertion is just really hard to measure because you're constantly burning calories just by being alive. And food is not the only thing that triggers your body to accumulate fat. When your body needs food, it will ask for it, either through hunger or cravings. And if you've been conditioned to soothe your uncomfortable emotions like sadness or anger or boredom through food consumption, you will naturally reach for it. And 95% of the decisions that we made are all made in the unconscious mind. So to actually quiet the food noise for good, you're going to need to know what to eat and how to trigger long-lasting satiety. So you're not triggered to be eating throughout the whole day, which makes you think of food because you're hungry, because something is triggering that hunger. Okay. And to know what to eat, you have to know first how it feels to be hungry versus thirst versus a craving versus an emotional trigger. Once you identify the signals for each of these needs, you will have a clear idea of what your body is actually asking for and how to satisfy each of those needs. So, for example, if it's hunger, you'll want to have a meal with that's high in protein, fats, fiber, and some carbohydrates. A lot of times we're just thirsty, so maybe you want to just take a few sips of water while you think about what kind of food you want to have. If it's a craving, just have exactly what you're craving. And no, you don't have to finish the whole plate. And if you find that it's an emotional trigger like anxiety, you'll want to address the anxiety first before you decide on food. And then after you dealt with that, you can still have whatever you wanted to have if you had an idea of what you wanted to have. But by that time, you'll probably be satisfied and not want the food. Plus, you'll actually be satisfying the right need. By the way, if you're finding this helpful, hit subscribe because this is exactly the kind of stuff I talk about every week. Learning how your body feels and what it's trying to communicate is something that I help my clients with inside my program. And it's much easier than it sounds because even though it's like learning a language, this is a language that you already know. You just stop paying attention to it because we've been so programmed to listen to the experts or someone else because, I don't know, maybe grass is greener on the other side. They know more than I do because I feel I don't know enough. Whatever reason it is, we've been conditioned to listen to someone else. But the truth is that nobody, no matter what their experience is or their credentials are, can know what you feel ever. They might have an idea and they can guide you through it, but they don't actually know. The knowing is really within you getting to know your body and how your body tells you what it needs. Your body has a self-regulatory system integrated. It's actually doing the calorie counting for you. You just need to listen to it again. And if you feel that counting calories is the only way that you can have control of your food or therefore your weight, remember that hunger is regulated by hormones. And if you feel overly hungry, this is your body trying to tell you that something is off and that you need to pay attention to it. And it is important to find the cause, the what is causing that over hunger, because it's not natural. And how to figure that out is a whole other video. So if you want to learn more about how to naturally lose weight without any restrictive diets so that you can feel great in your body, stop the food noise, and stop feeling confused about what you should eat, subscribe to this channel so you don't miss the next video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.